Thank you for joining us at another edition of The Love Project. This month's topic is what haunts you. Joy, what haunts you?
What haunts me over and over again, I never get away from it, is procrastination and lack of follow through. I just it affects everything in my life, and I want so hard to break free of it. But it takes work, and the work that it takes requires no procrastination. So, yeah.
So how do you get out of that circle of not procrastinating, work about not procrastinating?
Well, see, it's either going to come down to, one, get in a crisis where you don't have any other options but to do something about it, or two, like writing it down and making a schedule and making yourself stick to it, and in hopes that it'll become a routine. Because you know the old saying about a habit, 21 days makes a habit, 21 days breaks a habit. And that's what I'm hoping will work for me.
So when are you going to write your schedule?
Well, today! I even brought my computer, so I got this book, this ebook called Eat That Frog. I forgot the name of the author. Anyway, and it's about stopping procrastination, and so I started reading it, and then it petered out, and I don't know. For myself, it seems like if I don't have it like right there in front of me, then it's easy to get involved with life, and not do it. So I'm gonna try.
What do you mean by get involved with life?
Well, it's just that it, like a very neutral example would be you have a piece of paper that's on your table, and it has a deadline of like, I don't know, 2 months away. So you pass by the table and you say, oh, I got to do that. No, I got to do that. And you look at it, you point at it, and you say, I got to do that. And then you go, when you do whatever you have to do, and it gets down to the place where it's like, all right, I need to do something about it 2 weeks beforehand, and then it gets to 1 week beforehand, and then you know it needs to be done, so you write it down, or at least I do, write it down and stick it on the dashboard of my car. Must be done by this date, because all the bad experiences I've had of not getting it done, and then whatever, the gas gets turned off, the electricity gets turned off, all just because of the fact that I just didn't get around to paying it, or doctor's visits, or whatever the case may be. So
You seem comfortable that this is like a part of your reality. So does it really haunt you, or is it just something you're uncomfortable with?
well, no, it does haunt me because it has affected my life to the point that I could be living in a better place. I could be working in a better job. I could be, doing much more than I do now. But because of the fact that I have these issues, I'm not capable of a higher standard. And I don't say that, with any pity for myself. It's just that, for myself, I was in a position and I couldn't handle it. It required not procrastination, and I lost it. And it's just not anybody else's fault but my own, but still. So, I mean, that's another one of the crises that I've been through to make me realize what I need to do and not get off track. And saying it and doing it, I guess, are two different things. But when the saying it and doing it are two different things, come in and affect your life to the point where you live below the standard where you could, yeah, it haunts me.
Have you ever figured out the root of why you procrastinate?
I think it has something to do with my past. Sometimes I get a glimpse of it, and it's like mixed together, like this buildup that clogs everything down, and it's like bad memories, shame, guilt, low self-esteem, a lot of things all rolled together that produce a, whatever it is, a clog, or produces a mindset or whatever. But and if I can make this ball of yarn that is this mindset of procrastination loosened and expanded, then I can tackle it in one area at a time. But until I can do that, then it's still, all I can do is sit and hold the ball of yarn. And
so it sounds like procrastination is a symptom of other things that are going on below the surface.
I do believe so. I do. I really believe so. And it's addicting. Procrastination is addicting. And it doesn't even feel good. It's still addicting. It's very hard to get out of that. There's been times when I yelled at myself. You're like, stop it! Stop doing this! And yet it was like I couldn't help myself. It's very much like addiction. And if that's true, there's a reason for addiction. This much I know. And in addiction, if you take care of the underlying cause, then there's nothing to be addicted about. If that makes sense. And I may be really totally off. I might have the totally errant thinking, off base, misinformed, whatever, but having lived with the people that I've lived with that had addiction, and going through in my mind all the stuff that they were going through, knowing them and the things that they had gone through in their past, and going to a lot of support groups, this is something that I learned. Not from my own, but from what I learned from many, many, many counseling sessions and meetings. And there's a reason for addiction. And if you take care of the reason, then it'll be so much easier to break that.
How are you currently taking care of your reason?
Currently, I'm not. But I know what I need to do, which is go to my God and just pour out myself at the foot of the cross in His mercy and His grace.
Are you procrastinating that?
I am. And it's not even something that I want to procrastinate on. But again, it's so much a part of the fabric of my being that sometimes it's easier for me to not procrastinate if I can displace myself from the situation and try to look at it as in, what would this person do? And say, I'm going to act like them. Not like me, but I'm going to act like them to help me get started. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
who is the person that you tend to mimic or tend to act like in order to get things done?
Sometimes it's my sister. Sometimes it's my mother. Sometimes it's Veronica. But a lot of times it'll be somebody that I know that can make clear decisions and not have to, and know which way to go. It's easy for them to be able to know which way to go.
Do you think it's valuable to talk about what haunts you?
Yeah.
Where does the value come from?
The value comes from if you don't address the issue, it doesn't go away. If there's a piece of bread in the back of my cupboard, unless I open the cupboard to take it out, that bread's going to stay there. And it's going to mold, and it's going to rot, it's going to turn stale, and I can wish that it wasn't in there all I want until I open that cupboard and take that piece of bread out. It's going to stay in there. And for me, change has to begin from inside. If you want to affect the outside, you have to change the inside. And so that's the value. Is talking about it helps you to at least sort it into manageable, hopefully bite-sized pieces that you can tackle at it a little at a time. And that's the value, I think.
And is there anything else you'd like to share about being haunted or anything else like that?
Well, my latest thing is, and this is the way I've been starting to like talk myself through things. Lately, I'll say, "Well, don't be a victim. Do something about it." It's like, so, you know. And I saw the bumper sticker yesterday. It was really great. It was like, do something about it or shut up. But I don't know. I thought that was great. But so that's my thing lately. You know, don't be a victim. Do something about it. And so I'm hoping that will begin. If I can get momentum, maybe I can keep the momentum going. But
is it working for you?
A lot of times it does. It's just that beginning, that starting the first. Going in that direction is the hardest, I think. Once you get started doing it, you know, it's like doing the dishes. I hate doing the dishes. But if I can get started, if I can walk up to the sink and start washing the dishes, I can make myself follow through. But it's getting to that point of actually walking up to that sink and saying, we're going to get these dishes done.
Thank you, Joy, for participating in the Love Project.
Okay.
And thank all of you for viewing.